Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to jump straight in today and get creating with you all. I'm really excited because I have a new collection from Creative Memories on my desk today, and this is called the Heartfelt Noteworthy Days collection. Now this collection became available from a recent promotion that Creative Memories had. It was a spend it promotion, so when you spent a certain amount on the Creative Memories website, you had some choices of free product. There was some storage items, or there was this collection, and I chose to take this collection. So this was the free collection that I got. I absolutely love the color. Got the designer stickers here. Just get these out of the bag to show you. How sweet are all of these? And I just love the colors. There's some border stickers. And then of course, oh, I'm getting excited. I can't even hang on to these properly. Then you've got all your little quotes. There was 2 paper packs. So I'm going to create today with this collection. I've already printed some little photos that I'm going to work with. And my inspiration for today, I'm actually going to create from one of my own sketches. Now this was a sketch from my June 2025 sketchbook. And for the sample design, you'll see that I used the Legacy of Love collection. I actually have the original layout here. So this is the layout that we're going to create together today, but I'm going to use the new Heartfelt Noteworthy Days collection because, as I always say, my sketch designs, you know, even though I give a sample using the sketch, you can create with any collection that you like. And I have to say, the June 2025 sketchbook, it has been one of my most popular sketchbooks. I'm going to say it's because of the Legacy of Love collection. I'm biased because I absolutely loved this collection. But anyway, we're going to get started. I just wanted to give you a little look at the layout we're going to create. As you'll see from my sketches, I always give all of the measurements for each design, and I also like to give just a few little tips on creating, you know, your completed layout. But you'll find June 2025 over on my website, papersweetpea.com. I will link that below this video. And just a quick mention too, my July sketchbook also dropped yesterday. So it is now available on my website, and there are some fun designs within that download as well. So many beautiful papers in this collection. I absolutely love this pink and aqua polka dot. Lots of beautiful colors and patterns in this paper pack. But I think for my background, I think I'm going to go for this light blue paper. It has, like, I don't know if you can see it if I bring that up to my camera, just a really faint chevron pattern to the background. But I thought the blue would look really nice because for my photos, this little one, she's wearing a sweet little blue jumpsuit. I've got 3 photos there that will work nicely for this layout. So yeah, we'll go with this designer background. And we can refer straight away to our sketch. And I'm going to start by cutting the 2 larger circles that sit in behind my photos. And you can see here I've given the sizing, the large circles. It's the large circle custom cutting system template and red blade on the outside track. Okay, so I've got my template. I've got my red blade. I'm just going to move my background paper out of the way. And I just need to select a paper for these large circles. I definitely know I want to use this plum colored tone. I've also got just some plainer prints here with the designer matte paper pack as well. Decisions. Let's go with this pink polka dot paper to start with. And we need to cut 2 of these large circles. So So I'll just line that up on my cutting mat. I've got my red blade. The guesswork's all been taken out of, you know, sizing, because I give all of those measurements. And we're just going to cut around the outside track. So that's one circle. And I'm probably going to cut that on the diagonal for our second. Like so. I can turn that blade around now so that I don't cut my fingers. And we've got our two circles. So these sit on the layout. You can see again, referring to my sketch, they sit on the diagonal to each other. So we've got one in the bottom left corner, and I've got another in that top right corner. Now we've actually got a smaller circle as well, and that was this little half circle that you see here at the top of the page. And I did use the same paper for this half circle as I did for the larger ones on this layout, and I think I'm going to do the same for this one. I do give a tip for this. I say save the small leftover circle half for sketch number 4. So if you cut this circle, you can save the off-cut half, because we do cut it in half, and you can use it on sketch number 4. I'm not creating sketch number 4, so I'm just going to cut a half circle. So you can do this if I bring in my small template as it's suggested, and I'm actually just going to line this up halfway on my cutting mat. So we only need a half circle. So I'm just going to align that along the straight edge of that paper. So that way we're not wasting any. And I can cut around that outside edge. Like so. Okay, so that has all of the circles from that first paper. So we've got one here, one in that top right corner, and then our half circle, if I'm following my sketch, you know, identically, it's going to sit up in that top left corner like so. Okay, the next pieces that I'm going to cut is the backing to my photos, and I actually cut these a bit shorter than my photos, so they're not really photo mats. It's more just a decorative element behind the photos, but each of these have been cut at 5.5 inches by 5 inches. I really like this blue, so I'll bring in my trimmer. And I'm going to cut this at a 5-inch width. And then from this piece, I'll be able to cut the two 5.5-inch widths. That's 5.5, and that's 5.5. We've got a little bit left over. So it's just like putting together a little jigsaw puzzle when you follow a sketch, just putting all of your pieces into place. We've got one that will go up against this circle here. And the second one is going to go up against this circle here, like so. Now I'm actually going to get these stuck into place, and then we can move on working on the extra elements for our layout. Once you're happy, we can stick those down. Start with that smaller circle. And I'm just using some repositionable tape. And that way, you know, if I need to lift anything up or move anything around, I'll be able to. Stick that circle into place. same for this base circle. Next, I can stick down these little blue pieces that we cut together, and they sit right up against the edge of the paper, and just center them through each circle. Okay, so that's really easy so far. Next, I'm going to work on these little banner tags that I've got coming out the side here of both photo clusters. I'll start with the larger, and the measurement I've given is 5.25 by 2 inches. So I'm going to work with, I think I want some navy blue paper. So we'll go with this heart print. Now, it is a directional print, so we're just going to make sure that I've got those hearts facing the right way. And I'm going to cut that at the 2-inch measurement. And then we need two 5.25 cuts there. So that'll get it to the correct sizing. Got that little bit left over. Now each has a little fishtail or ribbon tail end, so you can just freehand cut those with your scissors. I'm going to use the punch that Creative Memories had. This is no longer available, which makes me sad because I use this all the time. I'm lazy and I know that this is going to get it cut perfectly for me. So that has one tag, and we need to cut the right side edge of this one. So just again, going to insert that into my punch. You're probably all wondering why I'm turning it over upside down, and that's because when you insert this in the punch, you can actually cut a little bit more from the length of your strip. So I'm making sure that it's just to the corners of the width of that strip so that I'm not cutting any extra length away, like so. Okay, so with my first little tags there cut and in place, we can start working on our extra elements. And you can see that I've layered a smaller tag over the top as well as some borders as well. And I'm going to do a similar effect for this layout. I'm going to work in the fishnet border punch. I use this punch quite a bit. And I know it's, you know, it's called a fishnet border punch. It looks like a fishnet, but you can actually use this border punch just to create some great texture on your layout. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'll share how I do that. You just want to be careful with it though. I do find sometimes these punches with the little intricate details, it's easy to snag your punched little strips. So just take care with that. So I've cut it in half, and what I like to do is I just like to go ahead with my scissors and just remove little notches here and there through that punch strip. And it just gives a really great textural effect on your completed layouts. I'm certainly not being, you know, too careful with it. Just making my way along. Like so. And you can just see, if I lay that out on my cutting mat, you can see the difference it gives to that punch strip, and it just gives a really great texture when you're using it in behind, you know, a lot of your, or on top of, you know, a lot of your elements on your layout. So I'm going to just do the same with this piece. Just here and there. Have fun with it. You just don't want any, you know, straight perfect edges. That's probably the best way that I can explain what I'm doing here. Just removing a piece here and there. Like so. So we've completely, you know, changed the appearance of that. And I'm going to bring in some of this beautiful soft green here, and I'm going to cut the smaller tag for my layout. I think from memory it's an inch width. Yes, it is. So 1 inch by 5.5 inches by 1 inch. So cut that 1 inch width first. And then it was 5.5, like so. Okay, so with all of those elements cut, we can start to position things into place. So these little banners will go in under our photos here, and those little fishnet border strips that we cut, I'm just going to lay those over the top of them. It just builds a fun textural element to the layout. Got another one down here, and same thing. I'm just going to add that over the top of those. Happy with that. And then we can add our photos to the layout. Now I did allow for 2 3x4 photos at the top here and 1 6x4 at the bottom. You can change that around to suit yourself. You don't have to do, you know, use the same size as what's on my sketch design. I am going to cut 2 of mine down though. I'm going to keep, I think, this one as my full width photo, and then cut these 2 photos down, because you can see there's a lot, you know, in the background that I can cut away. So I'll bring in my little trimmer here. We can cut this down to 3x4. I'm just going to center that. I want to make sure that my subject matter is fairly centered before I cut. So yeah, happy there. So I can trim that a little bit off, and we can trim that down to a 3-inch width. So that just cuts away all the pieces that aren't necessary with that photo. These photos can, you know, afford themselves to be cut down to size. Again, I just want to get a rough guide to where I need to cut this one down to. I think that will be okay. Just eyeballing it. Or you can print your photos to size 2. You don't have to cut them down. Okay, so we can stick these photos down into place. So I had the 2 3x4 photos up the top here, and I had the 6x4 photo at the base down here, which works in really well. So if you're happy, we can stick those into place. Same with our smaller photos. Our second photo there. Okay, so with those stuck into place, we can come in now with our little banners and get them adhered as well. So I'll start with that wider banner at the top. And I'm going to center that, and you just want it tucked in under the photo. Like so. Same with the banner for down the bottom here. And then it's just a matter of adding these thinner strips over the top. At the top there, same at the base. This is all coming together very quickly. And then I can layer my fishnet border that we've trimmed down. I'm going to layer that over the bottom. Just tuck it in under that photo. You can see the effect that that gives. You wouldn't pick that as being, you know, fishnet now that we've removed all of those little pieces. It's just giving a really fun dimension to our layout. I think I want to add this just up the top of our fishnet there. Probably would have been easier for me to cut this before I stuck everything in place, but no matter. Just get that nice and even. And just with my little scissors, I'm just going to fold that back to give me a point to cut. There we go. Just layer that over the top. I'm going to do the same up with this area here. I've just got that little bit left over. I'm just going to stick that somewhere safe. We might be able to add it to our area up the top here. Okay, so that has our little area of our banners that I've included on the sketch done, and you'll see up the top here that I've got some smaller ones as well, just to bring balance to the layout. If I show you the completed layout here that I have, you can see I've just got some little tags. I added a little banner to the top and these little tags, and it just balances out the colours and the papers from the layout. So this top strip is 5 inches wide by 1/2 inch, and I've got this little leftover strip here I think I'll be able to use. It's just the smallest measurement. I'll just get that lined up 1/2 inch like so. And then the other 2 banners we've got, they're both 1 inch wide. One is 2.25 in length and the other is 1.75. So I've got a 1 inch width here of the green, so I just need to cut that to 2.25. Is that what I said? Yes, 2.25. Just a little cut. And then I'm going to use more of this beautiful plum. Have to cut an extra strip for that, and that will be 1.75. I don't think they're going to fit in my little punch. They're a little bit too short, so I'm going to freehand cut those just with my scissors. It's coming up from each corner like so. And I've got the green. Okay, so we can add that navy blue strip across the top of the layout there, and then we can layer these smaller little banners over the top of it, just to the left of that half circle, like so. And you know what? That pretty well has all the basic elements from the sketch design into place. So all that's really left to do now is build on this and add some embellishments. Now, I couldn't help but look at this little sticker title here at the base, which says Bliss. And I think it would look awesome layered over the base of our tag here. I'm going to add this with some foam squares because again, I want to just build that little bit of dimension on my layout. I'll just add a couple of foam squares. And I'm going to lay that to the bottom. Maybe up just a little bit. Maybe I add these little plants. How cute are those? They're so sweet. Add that to the side there. And then, let's see, I really, really love this heart, and I don't think I can go past this cute little camera. It says smile. So if I add the heart to the side here, and I'm going to add the camera with some foam squares, lay it over the top. So cute. And I think I saw some butterflies. Did I see some butterflies? Oh, yes, I did. Here we go. They're very sweet. So I've got a plum toned and a navy tone. I'm going to add those with a foam square as well. Just one on the back there. Which I know, you know, they're stickers, they're already adhesive. You can pin them flat to your layout for sure if you wish. But by adding a foam square, just gives them that little bit of added dimension. And it does make a difference on your page. I'll need a smaller one for this little guy. Just one behind each wing. Lay that one here. Now that little teeny tiny little banner sticker that I had left over, I'm just going to neaten off the ends where we cut that to fit on our layout. And I think I'm going to add that for balance just over the top here of my layout. That works nicely. Okay, and I think I love these little kind of a bronzy gold toned arrows. So I think I'll add just a little arrow below there. Once I start, I can't stop. I've just got to keep adding and adding, as you can see. I really like these titles. Love you and living my best life. I think they're perfect. So I'm going to add one at the top here. Love you. And below that, I'm just going to add living my best life. Okay, I'm not going to add any more elements to this layout. I'm really happy with how that's come together. You could add some little journaling strips if you wanted to, but I'm going to leave mine just as it is. So this was sketch number 1 from my June 2025 sketchbook download. As I said at the start of the video, I will link my website below, so you'll be able to check out all of my sketchbook downloads for yourselves. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this layout come together, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.